Hilary, I'm gonna ask you first because I know that was the one you brought up too. Like
Yeah.
using it as a motivator. Like, what's some examples? How
Yeah.
can we like put a visual to this thing?
For me, something that, and I'm a visual, like you said, visual, I'm a visual
Mhm.
person. So when God speaks to me, he has to give me like literal, like people holding stuff and
Me
doing
too.
Yes.
stuff. But
Me
for
too.
me, I've had to kind of transform my thinking. And I don't always do this. So I'm not saying this from like where I've conquered this. I am a work in progress. I'm working through this, but I do have to, when a thought comes, and I know that it's like not true, I have to ask myself, okay, like, is this a thought that God gave me, or is the enemy just trying to discourage me? One, but then two, like, if my therapist told me, she was like, you have to live your life like it's one big yes from God.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, that's how you keep moving forward. And she was like, God will guide you by closing doors. He'll
Mm.
guide you by having people walk away from your life. A lot of us are fearful of people leaving
Okay.
or, starting over. And like it, and listen, I've been through that recently. I was like, I don't want to start over.
Oh,
Right here.
I was like, anything but this, Lord. I was
Please,
like, I will
God,
take
here.
anything else.
I don't want to start
Like,
oh God.
over again.
like, do any, like, do something else, like, to stir me up. Like, I don't need that. So that's literally how I talk to God. I'm like, why? But yeah, so I think when you really try to like work on, and it's a work, we're all a work in progress, right?
Mhm.
It's something you have to fight. Like you have to fight thoughts. You have to literally like really just sit with the fact that like there is no failure in God,
Come
which
on.
means whatever God called you to do, like if he called you to do it, you're not going to fail.
You're not.
But like you have to say it and then you really have to accept it and it's a daily thing.
Hmm.
Actually,
Yeah.
it's a minute thing for me cuz I'm like 1 minute I'm like, yes, yes, Lord. And the next minute I'm like, oh, like Lord help me. So it's like it's
Yeah.
a minute and you have to choose that. But I think for me it's really like starts with the mind. It's like a mental thing for me because it once like Brittany said earlier, like I think it was Brittany or Shawana, like once my mind gets going,
That's
I'm
it.
drowning in my thoughts.
Hmm.
That's it. That's it.
And then it's harder for me to get out of it, right? Because I've already, the whole story has been already told and hasn't even happened yet.
Come on
So I
now.
would say, I would say that that's one of the big things is that like my mind is what I'm trying to work through and fight through. Because I know once this is conquered, everything else will follow suit. So I would say it starts up here and
Yes,
and questions and all of that.
I agree. It's the same for me. I recently realized too because of I'm the same way. Like you said, it's a minute thing for you. For me, it's as soon as my eyes
Yeah.
open and my feet hit the floor. Because if I don't do that, it will be literally every minute. I'm trying to redirect my thoughts. So for
Yeah.
me, it's like I
Mm.
have to be intentional about everything. Like I have to like if I know this is what keeps me grounded. If I know getting up, working on healing my chakras, praying and meditating is what makes my day flow
Yes.
smoothly. If I do not get up and do that, fear will come in all kinds of ways. It could be so minor, and but I realize how big it looks to me when I don't do what I need to do ahead of time. So I have to, they
Yes.
call it getting out ahead of it. I have to get out ahead of my fear. Soon as my feet hit the floor,
Mm,
I have to do what I have to do. But when I do it, and it's
yeah.
not even anything extraneous, I enjoy getting up early. I enjoy meditation. I love doing my chakra work. It is so fulfilling to me. So that's why I get so frustrated with myself too. I'm like, how come I just don't? I
Yeah.
feel so good when I do it. So why don't I do it every day? You know what I'm saying? When I wasn't
I
consistent, why
know.
don't I do this every day?
Right.
It makes no sense. Why? Because we just get caught up in routine or whatever
Yeah.
reason.
Yeah.
But when I get out ahead of it,
Autopilot.
I promise you, it just be like stuff just be like butter, like smooth when I get out ahead of it. And that doesn't omit fear, but it just doesn't take me out like it normally does. Like
That's it.
I can be like, whoo, okay, that didn't make me feel good, but I know why. I know how to turn it around. I'm good. Like, and it's like I keep it rolling. So my phone, my laptop is plugged up to the charger, but the extension cord came out the wall. So this whole time we've been recording, my battery is
What?
like trash. The little thing came up and was like, you got 3% left. Oh, I ran and plugged that in.
You're like, no.
I was gonna
What
cry.
in the world?
The devil did not want this to come out. Okay.
No, he did not.
What in the world?
Because my computer is plugged up. So I was like, how is it dying? Girl, all the way in the corner.
Oh my
it had came out the wall. Okay.
How?
Sorry about
this is what most people are dealing with too. So the enemy doesn't want conversations about this.
Exactly. You don't want it to come out.
Very true.
I know. I need to keep them fearful. I can't do nothing if they're not scared. Come on now. I'm gonna keep that in here. People need to hear that. The enemy, if you are not fearful, there's nothing the enemy can do. Nothing. Come on now.
Now that part.
Okay. Woo. So Britt, what about you?
Yeah, you threw me off for that one. Okay. I think for me, one of the things that I have learned is that, like I said earlier, sometimes fear will push me to frustration. So sometimes, depending upon the situation, like I have to admit to myself that I'm scared. Like it's fear. And as uncomfortable as it may be, like if I acknowledge it early on, then I kind of know how to proceed with myself. So I keep saying this on all these episodes, basically giving myself grace. Because it's a natural reaction to things. Like sometimes you just can't help but be scared in situations. Like I know we're not supposed to worry. I know we are supposed to pray and just give stuff to God. Everything is not that simple.
Right.
So once I kind of know, okay, no, I'm scared. I am terrified. Like I really don't know how this is going to play out. Then I know, okay, do I need to talk this out in therapy? Do I need to pray more? Do I need to start watching extra sermons throughout the week? Because I just need somebody like I need a word now. So that kind of helps me figure out, okay, what is the next step? Okay, you're scared, but what are you going to do next? Because you can't just stay there. You can't be just stuck in fear. So once I kind of identify it, then I know okay, this is what I need to do next. And that's okay if I'm scared right now, but you can't stay scared. You got to do something else about that. So for me, that's the biggest thing. It's kind of at least knowing or acknowledging it, because fear shows up in a lot of ways and we don't be knowing we be scared. We be thinking it's something else, and whole time that's what it is. So I kind of have to sit with myself, and it's okay, that's what we feeling. That's fine. But what we going to do about it? Because we can't just let this linger and just sit on it. So yeah, that would be the main thing that I do.
So powerful. Wow. As you were talking, what came to my mind is when we acknowledge it, we don't give, I feel like it loses its power. I feel like when we don't acknowledge it, we're just being overpowered. You know what I'm talking about? Yes. So when you were saying that, I was like, it loses some of its power when we face it, when we acknowledge it. So that's powerful. So.
It is.
It does. It's not as deep, because then I'm all right, I got it. That's what it is. Let me figure out what I need to do next, because I can't let this ride out. Another thing for me too is the older I get, I can recognize stuff I have control over and stuff that I don't. So I feel like I obsess less if I'm I know if, they respond to me this way, or I know that, once I say this, it's a done deal. It's not really on me. It takes the pressure off, because I feel like once you obsess over this thing happening and that thing happening, you done lost control of your own self. Forget the situation. You don't even have control of you. So I think sometimes I have to be Brittany, okay, once you do that, that's done. They ain't got nothing to do with you after that. So even just recognizing okay, what can I do in this situation and what can I not do in the situation? I still struggle with control, but that's one of the things that kind of okay, it ain't once you do that one thing, whatever happens after that, that's not on you.
Yeah.
So kind of just feeling okay with, I did my part and that's all I can really do, but letting that control go, I guess. Yeah.
That's good.
Okay.
That's powerful. And I love what Hilary said, just about when you acknowledge it, it really does takes some of that power away. It's like a relief almost, which is why I have been really big on standing your ground during this time, and saying exactly what it is you need to say. They say when you don't when you need to say something and you don't, you disrespect your own boundaries and stuff like that.
Yes, I've heard of that.
You disrespect your boundaries, and it keeps you in a state of fear. Like you're literally saying, I'm not worthy to let out what's in, almost. So I feel like like standing your ground is something that I feel like a lot of us fear when we feel like it won't be receptive. If we feel like when we stand our ground, it's not going to be received on the outside, we get scared and we hide ourselves. And God has just been screaming at me, take up space. Like you are here you are a existing vibrational being. You are meant to take up space. Like your energy. Like, what do you mean? Open your mouth and speak and take up space. So we gotta get out the fear of just being ourselves. I feel like too. Let it all out, y'all. Let it hang out.
when you were talking about like the outside world and people's perception, like along with anger, I feel like fear is one of those like shunned emotions. Like, you know, you're not supposed to be angry. And like, what do you have to be scared? Like, why are you scared? Like, oh my God, I can't believe you're scared. It's almost like people shame you because you got fear. Like, fear ain't natural. Like, what do you mean? Like, this is caveman emotions. Like, bruh, this has been going on since the beginning of time. So I just feel like because people shame you, it's like you're almost embarrassed to even admit, like, I'm fearful of XYZ. And I feel like that's why people characterize it as other emotions. Because, you know, it's natural to say you're frustrated. It's natural to say, you know, well, I didn't like such and such. Like, that is more acceptable than just saying, you know, that scares me. That scared me. Yeah, like, I'm scared if this were to happen. And it gets on my nerves. Because anytime I see anybody, like, throwing shade about somebody being scared, I was like, shut up. Just shut up.
But you know what though, Brittany, though, you nailed it on the head, because I think what that is, we are the byproduct of what happens when we've done something and it failed. So I feel like sometimes failure can teach us to not like take up space, like Shawana said, or to not say, hey, I'm feeling fearful of. It teaches us to not be vulnerable. And it teaches us to, like, there's so much to unpack with that. But yeah, it teaches us a lot to like to not speak what we're supposed to say and like do what we're supposed to do because of people walking away, and they have at one point. So when you have a bunch of life experiences of, oh, Shawana, I see you're taking up space. Brittany, you're doing too much, and people leaving. I'm gone. Right. Like, then it does create a type of thing that you have to work through, because you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not as simple at all. So you're so right.
It's not. I can't tell you how many times, whether it's been like at work or in like even my like intimate relationships, like I hear people talking and like they dancing around this, and I'm like, okay, hold on. So you saying you're scared, like you're worried, like say that. But I just feel like we have become so conditioned, like you just said, we're not gonna go there with our vulnerability. We are not about to admit that something has scared us or we're fearful. Like, I'm gonna dance around what this is. I'm gonna tell you all this other stuff. Yes, I'm gonna dance around this other stuff, but I ain't gonna tell you I'm scared. I'll tell you some other stuff, but I ain't about to let you get that part of me.
No. And I think it's very important that we say that, like, it's not gonna be easy a lot of the times. It's just not. But that's a part of it, and that's okay too. It's all a learning experience. Like, it's all a teacher. Even fear is like the biggest teacher. Even though we created, you know, a lot of times we create it in our minds or what have you. It's a teacher, and it's okay. Even and when you go into it with the mindset that, hey, it's not gonna always be easy, that kind of makes it easier, because you don't feel like it's a blow hitting you out of nowhere. It's like, I know these things about myself. I know these things about life. So when it comes, yes, it may disgruntle me. Yes, it may put me down. I might have to sit down and be still for a while. But at the end of the day, I know that I can bounce back from it and I don't get stuck here.
That's so good what you said, though. Because I feel like what you just said is fear is one of the best teachers.
Yeah.
It teaches you about yourself. It teaches you what you need to overcome. It's like, you know, it's like a constant lesson. So it's actually necessary.
It really is.
A lot of times, you know. So
it is.
I love it.
I agree. It pushes us. We need it. As uncomfortable as it is, it definitely pushes us. So I agree.
For sure. So if y'all have not received or picked up, which I don't believe that you ain't get nothing out of this, move through fear.
Ciao.
Whoever is listening, whatever you are fearful about, you really can move through that thing. Do not let the scenarios that you are creating in your head keep you from making the decisions that you know you need to make. Make those decisions. I don't know who need to hear that, but make them, and you are supported in your decisions. So,
yeah.
Hilary, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you
again for always being willing, because this was this was
fun.
great. I feel like I just had a therapy session.
Same. I feel the same way. I'm like, wow.
Yes, that's how I feel. Like, all right, like what decisions I need to make? Because
I'm like thinking, I'm like, girl, what you scared of?
Right.
Yeah, like
over here brainstorming my life out.
Yes,
I'm like,
now,
I done took all kind of notes, y'all. I done took all kind of notes. I always got my paper ready.
Yes,
so yes, like this was great. Brittany, you have anything you want to say?
I don't. This is, this is like kind of for me. Like, I don't have anything else. I feel like I needed to take all that stuff in that y'all said.
Wow, same. So, I mean, thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. This will not be the last time we have Hilary on again, because
absolutely not. Yes,
we have to.
Yes,
and hopefully,
hanging out with y'all.
I don't know what the climate of the is going on as far as like with COVID and everything, but one day soon we're gonna get Hilary on the couch with us. Okay, we're gonna get
we are.
Oh my god,
I love that we can do this virtually, but it's just something about when these powerful energies are here in the same room. I know God.
That Jay is gonna be.
Oh my gosh, the roof is gonna come off. Like what? Really, I cannot contain all this in one room.
No, that's gonna be a lot. Yes, I'm ready. I am ready, honey.
Oh my God. Well, thank you again, guys, for tuning in. We will see you you will hear from us on the next episode of the Brown Skin Blueprint. We hope that you have an amazing rest of this year. Well, we ain't done for the year, but just enjoy the holidays. It's the holiday season. Enjoy yourselves. Follow us on social media. Hilary, plug yourself real quick. What's your Instagram handles?
Yes. So my personal page is _messy_masterpiece. It's like a women's empowerment platform that I'm trying to build. And so I try to do videos and post and all that stuff. So hopefully you'll go on there and be a little encouraged. So check it out.
All right, y'all. So have a good day, and we'll see y'all next time.